Hi everyone. Now in this video what we'll do is go ahead and create our first iterative program, okay, or a program that will utilize an iterative structure. As I mentioned in my previous videos, about 95% of the time when you have an iterative structure in your program, it's pretty much being used for processing arrays or string manipulation or going through a result set via a database result from a query, okay? And we will do all those. We're going to spend a lot of time on each one of them, as a matter of fact, as we go through it. But not yet. We're not quite there yet because you haven't played around with arrays and I haven't taught you any of that stuff. So right now what we want to do is kind of introduce the iterative structure when it comes to pure logic and try to figure out how to apply the iterative structure to logically solve a problem, okay, outside of just looping through something, okay, and you'll see what that is as we go through it. In this case, we got this logical problem. So very rarely will you get things like this in programming. Very rarely I have over the course of my career. But they pop up every now and then that's when you start realizing, phew, a loop could really help. The key to this is identifying when a loop would help. And then the key is building the loop and its internal task logically and intelligently enough to actually handle it. And if you do this correctly, you're going to find that you're saving yourselves probably lines and lines and lines of code in doing so. Okay, so let's play with this one. This is kind of a fun problem. Maybe some of you have seen this before. If you have, I apologize, but we're going to still do it. I always like this one. Susan is hired for a job and her employer agrees to pay her every day. So she's going to get paid every day. Yay, us. All right. Or yay, Susan. Her employer also agrees that Susan's salary is 1 penny the first day, 2 pennies the second day, 4 pennies the Thursday, and will continue to double each day that she works there. So she could work for 20 years there if she wanted to, or 5 days, I don't know, whatever. But her very first day is going to be a penny, and so she'll make a penny the first day. Her second day she'll make 2 cents, then 4 cents, then 8 cents, and then 16 cents at the last day. So at the end of her first week, if you accumulated all of those, she would have made 28. Let's see, I'm adding this up now. 28, 30, 31 cents is what I have. I think I got that right. Yeah, 31 cents. Okay. That's how she would do it. So I always like asking the questions when we talk about this in class or whatever. Is this a job that you would take? You know, would you be willing to work the first week for 31 cents? And then I guess the next week you will make 32 cents on Monday, then 64 cents, and you really start pounding the dough when you're making like about $2 after the first 2 weeks. Is this something that's of interest to you? Well, let's write this program and figure it out. So what this program is asking us to do is to create an application that allows the user to enter the number of days that Susan will work and calculates the total amount of pay she will receive over that period of time. So again, she gets paid every day. So if we sit back and say she's going to work 5 days, our program should basically say she's going to make 31 cents in total. If we put in 10 days, I'm not quite sure I know what the answer to that one is. It's basically going to keep accumulating, and then 15, I mean, whatever amount of days we want to stick in there, it should give us the answer. Pretty cool? How do we write this program? How do we write this program? Based upon what we know our inputs are days, right? Our inputs are days. And so days is our only input, and it needs to be an integer and all that kind of good stuff, okay? The second thing we know, our output, it's going to be pretty simple, is just the total amount, right? So if I sit back and put that in there, it's going to be the total amount. Yeah, yes, okay. So one output, one input. So the question is, how do I go about doing this? Okay, so I would get days, all right, and let's just pretend we have no idea how we would go about doing this. So let's just say I put in 5 days. I'm going to sit back and I'm going to say, let's see, my wage. I'm going to make my wage equal to. I'm kind of doing this off the top of my head here. Equal to 0.01. That's where it starts, right? And then my total wage will be something that we're going to do it. So we're going to start off the bat and we'll say total wage. Let's see, I can type total wage equals wage in this case, right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take wage and I'm going to say multiply equal to. I'm going to double it, right? And then I'm going to say total wage total wage equals total wage, or we'll just say plus equals, right? Plus equals wage. So I'm going to take whatever was there before, 1 penny, and now I'm going to double it, and I'm going to do that again. And then I'm going to, well, let's see. I'm going to do that again. And because that will double, see, this will take it from 1 cent, this will take it to 2 cents, this will take it to 4 cents, and I keep adding to my total wage. And I'm going to start doing it again, and I'm going to start doing it again. Do you see the iterative part of this program going on and on and on? So if you're sitting back and you're unsure when to add a loop, if you're starting to do this and you really don't know when to end because I just did it for 5 days or how many days I did it, what happens if it's 10 days? What happens if it's 50 days? How am I going to keep adding more code to do something like this? And so when you see this same code being repeated over and over again, logically, voila, a loop should come into mind. So let's talk about that. What can I do here? Well, I basically want to do these two things, right? I want to set my wages, and then I want to double them and add them to them, and double them and add them to them. And I want to do that every day for until when? Are you all screaming at me? Till the day or days equals whatever the counter is that we're walking through, correct? So I enter days 5. I probably want to increment a counter that basically would walk through this 5 times. Does that make any sense? So what I'm hoping that you see here when I did this is that we have a repetitive piece here. And I want to do this every time based upon how many days are actually entered. So in this case, this would be day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. I want to run this part right here for 5 days. Not the rest of it. I know I did it before, added a little bit more. But that's not really good coding. It's repeating over and over again. How can I do this differently? So I could sit back and say, if we just want to deal with 5 days, is I could sit back and say, well, we know days is an input, right? And I could sit back and very easily say, do until, and let's just say we introduce this thing called counter, okay? And we'll say counter is greater than days, all right? And then really what I want to do here is we want to come in here and we want to say wage plus, I'm sorry, equals 2. We want to double our wage and then add to it, right? Total wage plus equals, whoops, did that wrong. Try it again, plus, oh my God, plus equals, you gotta put up with my mistakes, sorry. Plus equals wage, and I'm adding to it, loop, okay? And so let's just say we want to do it for 5 days. I could very easily put the word 5 in there. And this now what would happen would be is that I did my first day here, and probably what I do is I want to set my counter to, let's see, we're going to go to the second day automatically because I did my first day here. This is going to process my second day. And so it's going to come in here. It's not greater than it. It's going to add it. I'm going to double it and so on. What's the one thing I need in here? I hope you're all screaming out. I need to increment my counter, right? Plus equals 1. Okay, and it's going to continue to do that and add to the wages. So this, in this case here, look how this works. My wage is 1 cent the first day. I doubled it, which made it 2 cents, added to my total wages for a total combined wage for the 2 days she worked for 3 cents, right? Add 1 to the counter, I come back up. Let's see, I'm at 3 right now. That's not greater than 5. Okay, I'm going to double it. I'd be 4 cents. I'm going to add to my total wage of 3 cents. I'd be up to 7 cents now, correct? Add 1 to the counter, go back up. It's at 4. It's not greater than 5. I double that for 8 cents. And so 8 cents to, oh my God, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, it's 15 cents, correct? After this, I go back up. I add to my counter. I'm now at 5. I'm still going to do it. I double it to 16 cents. 16 plus 15 cents equals a total of 31 cents. I added one on my counter. My counter is now 6. I fall out, and I'll probably display my answer. Okay. So, oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, get that off of there. We'll try it again. Display total wage. What do you think? So what I did here was I replaced a lot of code that was repeating over and over again, and I stuck it into a loop. I did this for 5 days. I could do it for 10 days. I could do it for 100 days, and it would still work versus repeating code over and over again. And of course, as programmers, what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to do this in a way that is dynamic, right? And so basically, since our input is days, we're going to go get days, and we're just going to stick that there, right? We're due until the counter is greater than days. So they enter 5 days, 10 days, 100 days, 1,000 days. It will loop that much and keep doubling the pay and adding to it. What do you think? Have my solution down here. I do it about the exact same way. I did. I kind of used some different naming conventions. My salary, my total pay, and my counter. The identical piece is sitting right there. Take a look at that. See if that makes sense. You see what I mean by being able to logically see how to apply the iterative structure? That comes with practice, people. It's not going to be one of these things you're going to go, oh, God, got it. You got to sit back and kind of design this thing out and try to look for the repetition, the things you're doing over and over again. And if you start discovering you're writing the same code, 2 or 3 lines of code the same way and the same way and the same way, next thing you need to do is look for a loop and then put a condition around it. And it always works. Very powerful structure. Actually, pretty cool to do. Okay. All right. Let's see what next.